Pandita. I lead our consulting practice called Cloud Strategy and Transformation across Europe. While we are a consulting practice, we are also an advisory practice, and our job is to advise our clients or customers across the challenges and opportunities that multi and hybrid cloud offers. And FinOps, again, faces many opportunities on the business side, on the technology side, but of course has challenges on the architectural side or commercial side. And of course, through the discussion, I'll be very happy to share our experience and perspectives. Thank you. So multi-cloud definitely brings multi-challenges to all clients, and FinOps is not immune to that. And broadly, what we see, there are three core challenges when it comes to FinOps in a multi-cloud architecture. The first one is adoption, adoption for finance, adoption for business, and adoption for developers. So when I say finance, it is a further step up for the finance teams to understand the intricacies, the complexities, and the variabilities that multi-cloud offers across each cloud platform. For developers, it now creates a gap, a horizon gap between two cloud platforms. And there's an imminent risk that developers believe that there is a shared accountability model, which is not the case. So getting the accountability back to product owners and businesses in a multi-cloud sense is a key challenge we see. The second challenge we see when it comes to multi-cloud architectures for FinOps is the fact that cloud native technologies, be it containers, be it serverless, be it event streams, these are so automated and dynamic that doing forecasting for spend is a massive challenge. The third aspect, what we see in terms of challenges, is putting cost controls when it comes to FinOps in a multi-cloud setup, because a multi-cloud setup creates new cost paradigms. For example, you have to account for your egress costs, which is the cost you have to pay cloud platform providers in a multi-cloud setup, or you would potentially also witness a differential requirement in security solutions or encryption between cloud platforms. A combination of these creates complexities and challenges. From an industry perspective, I can take an example of telcos. What we're increasingly seeing, telcos are taking advantage of their incumbency. They are creating telco products on top of native cloud services from all CSPs. That brings a challenge of how do you price a multi-cloud setup across multi-regions. The second dimension is how do you link your business growth to your cloud spend. FinOps advisory services are very popular today. I can equate them to the services around blockchain some years back. There are three core services we see. Again, they are dependent on the maturity and adoption level of a client. The first one is to design and establish a FinOps organization, bringing our outside experience, and not only establishing an organization design, but also offering a seeding team to cover the knowledge gap. That's, I would say, the first service we see a lot. But clients who already have a good level of adoption in the cloud, they are looking at optimization services where they're asking for differential optimization strategies to optimize cloud spend. The same clients are also looking at partners to step up and offer more outcome-based commercial models where there is a managed service around FinOps, but risk-reward sharing is put in the equation. And then, of course, there are customers that have matured beyond the first two offerings, and they understand that FinOps cannot be a reactive setup. So what they're doing is establishing a mechanism to say architected right from the start. So what's happening is FinOps is being embedded into architectural boards, into design boards, so that any cloud native solutions that are produced have FinOps principles embedded, and that you can address it upfront versus take a reactive approach to it. In terms of benefits, what we're seeing customers achieve, I would say, depending on the adoption levels, the first eminent benefit is that customers are getting a sense of control, a control over their architecture, a control over their spend. Yeah. And when they have the confidence of being able to control costs and architectures, they are becoming braver to take on the multi-cloud leap, because now they're confident that the complexities of multi-cloud can be addressed better because they already have a control mechanism. Customers who, of course, in the adoption level really have taken into account both, they are actually taking advantage of the industry side of cloud, where they're taking cloud services as base services across all CSPs, and then they're creating their own unique products in the market, like telco products, telephony products, and they're using FinOps as a mechanism to scale. FinOps is a mechanism to drive better adoption. FinOps is a mechanism to link cloud spend with business growth versus just treat FinOps as a cost optimization strategy. So I would say the best practices that we recommend, and of course the best practices we see at play at our clients are kind of very similar. As an advisory organization, we work with clients, we advise them, and of course we learn in the process. The core, I would say, construct or learning is that a FinOps needs an organization, but it also needs a platform. And that platform is to be based on core principles. The first principle is visibility. The second is accountability. The third is control. And the fourth is intelligent automation. Now, they all come together because unless you have visibility of where spent, you cannot control it. So having forecasting, proactive measures, spend analytics is the first step. The second one is to make sure the accountability is defined. Cloud costs should not be left as a horizontal cost, but they have to be tagged to the products, to the business units, the business owners. So that defines the accountability part of the principle. And then, of course, there has to be a mechanism that the accountability is linked with control. But if the accountability somewhere lapses, the control ensures that there is no wastage. Yeah, that's the control element of it. And the fourth one is intelligent automation, which doesn't control everything. For example, it does control waste, but it doesn't stall or stop business growth, because having spend in the cloud would be a good sign if your business is growing. Yeah. So I would say these are core recommendations, and of course, in a way, pitfalls as well. The second recommendation, as I briefly touched in the previous question, is architecting it right. Mature customers do understand that FinOps cannot be reactive. FinOps cannot be applied once you're on the cloud, and you need to think of FinOps before you even design something. So architecting FinOps right is another key advisory we have. And that then bakes into the construct of sustainability as well, concepts like green coding, so that when you design a new architecture, you design it with the principles of green coding, with the principles of sustainability. The third one, which is, I would say, the most important of all, is to ensure FinOps is seen as a business function. It should not be treated as an IT cost optimization. So getting your product owners, getting your business owners on board, and also ensuring that they see a clear sign of sight between the revenue growth and cloud spend, versus always look at cloud spend as a compression item. I would say these are three broad areas of challenges, pitfalls, and advisory we consistently see in the market. I would say when it comes to FinOps, you have to look at different talent pools by their job specialty. So the first one is finance. And what we see, the finance organization has to shift left. And the shift left here is to shift towards cloud architecture. So finance has to become base educated in terms of cloud terminology, concept of tagging, what each service and how they differentiate between cloud platforms and multi-cloud. So I would say a logical understanding, not architectural, is an important upskilling required for the finance organizations. For the developers, it's a shift right on the other end, where they start taking accountability with the product owners for the spend of the cloud. And again, this is a bigger shift because historically developers have been consuming in a data center, but here in the public cloud, defining that accountability and pushing it up to the business line is another cultural shift, I would say, from an adoption perspective. Then comes the third bucket, which is your operators, your IT operators, your cloud operators. I would say they have to shift left and they have to shift right as well, using the principles of site reliability engineering. And the bigger upskill there has to be that they need to start operating the cloud as cloud and do not operate the cloud as a traditional data center. That's where principles like cloud native ops come at play. Yeah. And then the fourth skill pool, which is omnipresent, is security. Not always talked about in the construct of FinOps, but I would say security has to be baked in from inception to end, but with prediction, with automation, with guardrails, versus ad hoc and regressive controls, which block at speed. And eventually, all four scale pools need to aggregate onto a FinOps platform, which I said at the start has to be based on the principles of visibility, accountability, control, and intelligent automation. Thank you.